Hey guys, in this video today we're going to show you 6 intermediate FPV maneuvers.
Let's get started. Hey guys, so in this video we're going to go through a few different tips before we get started. Tip number 1 is make sure you've checked out the basic maneuvers course. That's going to teach you the fundamentals and the finite skills that you're going to need in this course. Tip number 2, altitude is your best friend in this video. When you practice these maneuvers, they're going to take a bit more air time to complete. So just take note that when you do some of these maneuvers that you're going to need to get some altitude. In the event that something was to happen, you'd have enough time to recover. Tip number 3 is your rates. Now, Betaflight default rates come stock at 667 degrees per second. That's a little under 2 rotations per second. I personally don't like that fast of a rotation rate, so I like to fly about 550 degrees per second, a little bit slower than the default rates because I feel more confident and in control. But when you perform these maneuvers, just take note and make sure that when you flick your drone into the maneuver, if you want it to flick faster or if you want it to spin slower, just go and adjust those rates to your liking. So step number 1 is perching. When you perch, you want to line up your drone to the target that you're looking for and slowly get some speed. And when you've got your target lined up and you're on top of the bench, just pull back on the stick slightly to slow your rotation down, and then make sure that when you hit that disarm switch and you're on top of that target that you're not too high up or too far down. And just keep practicing and get closer and closer until you're, a good 6 inches from the ground, and hit that disarm switch and your perch will look nice. So the next one is step number 2, and that's shooting gaps. When you shoot a gap, you want to, first of all, you want to make sure that you carry some speed through the gap, because if you don't carry speed and you're just hovering nice and slow, you're going to be drifting left and right, and it's going to be really complicated for you to get through the move. So get some speed and be confident, and make sure that when you shoot that gap that you're lined up on target. It does take a bit of commitment, and you do have to focus on the line and the trajectory that you're going, but with practice makes perfect. So make sure you practice step number 2, and we'll move on to step number 3. Step number 3 is S-turns. And when you do S-turns, it's going to take a lot of coordination in your stick movements. The goal being is to carve that left turn and then immediately carve back into that right turn. And so it's going to take some coordination of stick movements when you do that. Keep your stick centered in the center point. And what you're going to do is you're going to do an overarching arc on both of the sticks. So it's going to look like this. When you do that overarching arc, each arc above the stick center point is not only going to include throttle to carve around that turn and turn with your left and right yaw, but it's also going to include your pitch forward and your roll left and roll right, which you will coordinate those sticks together. So just imagine your sticks being centered and having that overarching arc like this. And that's how you're going to complete your S turns. So the next one we're going to do is step number 4, and that's a split S. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. When you do a split S, the goal being is you want to be able to spot your landing. So if you want to turn around, right, and you want it to look cinematic, you do a split S and a dive, and you go back the other way. Now, when I do a split S, if I'm going a left split S, typically what I'll do is I'll put in a little bit of right yaw input to turn my drone just before the move. Then I'll apply left roll to roll my drone into the maneuver, and then I apply my left yaw and turn my nose towards the ground. Once I spot the ground, then my throttle's still at 0, and then I drop down, pull back on the right stick to pitch my nose up, and then I apply throttle to carry the move through. Once you're confident doing a split S, let's move on to step number 5. So step number 5 is the power loops. When I do a power loop, I like to start off wide all the way around my object and then work myself in tighter and tighter until I nail it. So first thing you're going to do is shoot through the gap, whatever gap you're looking for, and apply your throttle input using the left stick to power up, and at the same time you want to pull back on the right stick to lift your nose. And you want to be able to carry that through, right, until you're spatially aware that you're traveling backwards. Once you are aware that you're traveling backwards, what I like to do is actually flick the right stick down to flick the drone into the maneuver and carry it back through. When I spot my landing, I look at the ground, I start to increase my throttle to carry my move through the gap, and then go through the gap. And usually what I'll do is I'll try and tighten that up. So obviously the first time I tried it, I kept it nice and wide so I can get my bearings, and then I tightened it up as I went. Step number 6 on the intermediate video. It's the last step here, and for me, I think it's the most difficult sometimes, because when I want to wall tap something, I obviously want something really high because I want to be able to recover if something were to go wrong. When I tried to wall tap that small wall over there, it wasn't tall enough. And so I had to be really quick with the stick to try and make it happen. And I couldn't be quick enough. I think it's about 6 feet high. I had little to no clearance. But anyways, when you wall tap, you want to approach the object with just a little bit of speed, not too much, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna throttle up and pitch back. And the goal being you wanna land the bottom of your quad onto the object. And when you wall tap, you wanna be flush with the object that you're wall tapping. If you're not, you're gonna hit it at an angle and it's gonna kick you off upside down. And in my case, I hit it actually at an angle. I hit the front 2 motors first and it kicked me back down because the back came into the wall and I kicked back down. So just don't go out to the downtown area and try and wall tap a building. That wouldn't be good. So obviously I chose this drone for specific reasons. One of them being step number 6, the wall tap. Now, the reason why I chose this drone is because it has a flat bottom, or semi-flat. At least I have a flat area, right? When I hit that wall flat, I'm gonna be able to launch off flat. Now, if I was to use the DJI FPV drone, there'd be no flat bottom, and it might actually kick me off in a weird angle that I'm not prepared for.
All right, folks, thanks for watching. Don, thank you so much for teaching us all of these things. I love these videos because I don't have anything to do. I can just sit and watch Don flying the FPV, which is absolutely awesome. So as always, like, subscribe, leave your comments. Make sure you thank Don for what he does for us. And we'll see you for the next video, which is going to be
the advanced course.
The advanced, right? So we'll have advanced as well. And hopefully you guys enjoy these, and hopefully you don't crash too many drones. But that's it for now. Thanks again.